Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Her podcast. I think that most of us, and you'll probably agree with me on this one, is that we are well and truly back into routine. Kids are back to school. The calm and the relaxation that we felt from the holiday period is slowly fading and wearing off. We're back to hectic days, juggling all the things, and often during these stressful weeks, we turn to food as a support. Okay, it's something that's kind of inbuilt in us that when we feel stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, when we have too much stuff on our plate, that we tend to turn to food. So in today's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking to you all about emotional eating, but how you can stop stress eating and stay more consistent, because there is nothing worse than feeling out of control around food like that. And I know you know what I'm talking about, that feeling of the food controls you. Like you don't choose what to eat and how much to eat and when to stop. It's like this food has this imaginary control over you and you just feel out of control and you just can't stop eating, even though you know that you should and even though that you know that you want to. So today's episode is all about giving you your power back and giving you some strategies and some tools and things that you can do during these busy and stressful weeks so that you can stop turning to food as a way of comfort and as a way of support. So we're all about taking our power back in today's episode. These tips are really, really important because awareness is power. Knowledge is power. The more that you can learn about yourself, the more that you can understand about yourself, about your habits, about food choices that you make, about your routines, the more equipped you will be to make better, well-informed choices about what you eat every single day. So awareness is key and knowledge is power. So the first thing you need to do is during those weeks, if you're trying to avoid that sort of stress eating, and I'm not talking about binge eating, that is a totally different topic. I'm talking about those weeks where you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you've got so much on your plate, and you just find yourself, especially of an evening or even during the day when you're tired, using food as a way to comfort and support yourself and as a way to cope. So the first thing you need to do is you need to notice the trigger first. Okay. And here's the crazy thing. When we emotionally eat, it's 95% of the time not about you being hungry. And that's the truth. So 95% of the time when you are stress eating, and usually that, like I said, not talking about binge eating, I'm talking about those times where you just want to eat. Like you just need some comfort. You're feeling crappy, you're tired, whatever, work stressful, kids are driving you nuts, and you just want to feel some comfort. So you turn to your favorite foods and you tend to overeat on those things, whether it's chocolate or chips or whatever your favorite food is. And you need to notice what is triggering you. What's your trigger? Because like I said, you're 95% of the time, you're not eating that food because you're actually hungry. It's because you're using the food as a way to cope with how you are feeling. And it's often tiredness, it's stress, it's anxiety, it's overwhelm. So ask yourself this question: am I hungry or am I stressed? And something that I did throughout my journey to lose the 10 kilos and to keep it off and to maintain my healthy habits is to sometimes say things out loud to myself, because often it diffuses what's going on inside your brain. It sort of breaks that pathway and that old habit chain that you're so used to. I'm stressed, I'm going to reach for the cupboard. I'm stressed, I'm going to reach for the pantry. I'm stressed, I'm going to go and get some food. We need to break these habits and these pathways. And often stopping in that moment when you've got home from work, you're tired, you're overwhelmed, and your first thing is kick your shoes off and head straight to the pantry for a packet of chips. Stand there and just stop yourself for a second and say, am I hungry or am I stressed? And like I said, say it out loud. I do remember the first time that I did it, and I thought I was a bit of a weirdo. I'm thinking, okay, like this is weird. And it really, really helps. Like I said, it's like a pattern interrupter. Like it's interrupting your brain and your thinking. If you stop yourself and say it out loud, am I eating because I'm hungry or am I eating because I'm stressed? And in that moment, you'll quite often make a different choice because you're acknowledging how you're feeling. You're saying it out loud. Your brain can hear it, your ears can hear it, and you often make a different choice. So ask yourself that question. And again, too, it's just that pattern. So you're stuck in this pattern of, well, I've had a bad day, so I'm going to eat to make myself feel better. We want to break that pathway and we want to break that pattern. Okay, number 2, have a stress strategy. So every busy gal, every busy mum, every busy woman should have a stress strategy. So I really want to get the message across to you that stress, if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, it doesn't mean that you failed, okay? It just means you've got a lot on your plate. Like if you're finding it really hard to get to the gym, to drink your water, to eat well, to go to work, to look after your kids, to do the washing and the cooking and all that kind of stuff, stress doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you're juggling a lot and that you have a lot on your plate, okay? That's all it means. Anyone can eat perfectly when everything is going to plan, okay? And I've talked about this before, but that's what we struggle with. We think that eating has to be perfect in order for it to be successful, and it doesn't. No one can eat perfectly. It's why women that sign up for these challenges will do it perfectly for a while, get a little bit of weight off, and then they end it, and then they go back to their old patterns and habits afterwards. It's because the challenge has taught them to eat perfectly for a while. To do it really, really well, it doesn't teach them how to deal with stressful days. It doesn't teach them how to cope when they're tired and they just want to overeat everything in the pantry. It doesn't teach you those things. It's teaching you that in order to be healthy, you just have to eat perfectly and that's it, and change nothing else. And so that's why it's really important to have a stress strategy. So a stress strategy is a small habit that interrupts your old patterns. Okay. I did mention that a little bit before about pattern interrupters and pattern disruptors and things like that. But stress strategy is a small habit that interrupts your old patterns, your old way of thinking. Okay. So for example, your old habit is I want to eat because I'm really stressed. Okay. That is what your brain knows what to do. It's done it repeatedly. It relies on the fact that when Jen gets stressed, she turns to food and she eats to comfort herself. Okay. So we have to interrupt that pattern. We have to interrupt that neural pathway in your brain. So, like I said, you can stop and you can ask yourself, am I hungry or am I stressed? Something else that you can use as a really simple pattern disruptor is to drink a glass of water. Okay. Kicked your shoes off. You've got home. You're tired. You're stressed. You've headed straight to the pantry. Interrupt that pattern that you have repeated over and over again and go, I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to have a glass of water and I'm just going to think about this for a second. That is interrupting that habit that you have done for a very long time. Okay. Drink a glass of water, go for a quick walk, do a big stretch, like literally. And you're probably going, that sounds a bit dumb, Jen. It's not. If you're standing there, shoes are kicked off, you're heading to the fridge to eat, just stand there for a sec and just arms above your head, stand on your tippy toes, just do a massive big stretch, a few big breaths and inhales and exhale. And again, you're interrupting that old behavior. You're interrupting that old habit of you turning to food when you are stressed. Okay. And you'll be surprised. These really small little things make a massive difference through the food choices that you make. And that's what I explained. It's because you're interrupting those patterns that your brain is used to. And remember, our brains like easy things. Our brains are actually lazy. So if that's a habit that you've always done, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm heading to the fridge and pantry, I'm going to eat. You have to find something to have as a stress strategy to try and interrupt that. So a glass of water, big stretch, ask yourself, am I hungry or stressed? Those things can really, really help.
If you are struggling or you're feeling frustrated with yourself, what you're doing, something's not working with your healthy eating or your weight loss, you need to check out Jen's membership. It's not anything you've done wrong. It's just something that you haven't been told yet. And Jen has all the answers.
This next tip is really something that's really, really important to me. And the reason that it is that so many of us, so many women simply do not understand that if they eat enough, if they eat properly, and that means no skipping meals, no cutting carbs, I'm talking eat well, eat enough food throughout the day, eat properly, eat nourished, balanced meals, you don't want to overeat. You don't want to stress eat. You don't want to eat all the food in the pantry when you get home from work. So tip number 3 is to keep easy feeling high protein meals that are ready to go. I can't stress this enough. Like, I went through this horrible cycle of thinking I'm such a failure. Okay. I was like, I couldn't lose weight. Like, I'd had a baby. I just wanted to shift the postpartum weight. Nothing was happening. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And then I decided to eat. I made that decision and I went, you know what? Okay, I'm going to read about this stuff. I'm going to learn about this stuff. I went, you know what? I'm probably actually not eating enough. I skip meals. I try and have really small meals. You know, where you try and just go, I'll just eat less. If I eat less at breakfast and have a really small lunch and a really small dinner, that will create a deficit for weight loss. None of that stuff works. And I just decided to eat. Eat properly, eat protein, eat healthy fats, eat fruits and vegetables, just eat nourishing meals. And what happens? You feel full. You feel satisfied. It's so much easier to say no to the donuts or to say no to the pantry full of junk food at the end of the day because you're just not hungry. So don't underestimate the power of simply eating properly and keeping those easy feeling high protein meals ready to go in your fridge or your freezer. Okay, because when you're stressed and when you're tired, if you've got a quick, healthy, high protein grab and go dinner, you're going to eat that. Okay, again, it's going to reduce your decision fatigue and you're going to go and eat that. High protein breakfast, balanced lunches. Hot tip, ladies, a tub of yogurt for lunch is not a balanced lunch. Okay, if you find yourself eating something during the day and you are hungry, half an hour later, take that as a sign that there is something wrong with that meal that you just ate. Okay. It's either like hasn't got enough calories, isn't enough protein. There is literally a reason behind everything that you are struggling with around food. It's just that you have to learn it. And this is the problem with us gals, is that no one has taught us this stuff. So you just have to learn. So keep those high protein filling meals in your freezer on standby, and that will really, really help you on your stressful weeks to not turn to food as a comfort and as a support. Next tip, a really good one, and this one helped me a lot too, is rate your hunger. So check in with yourself and rate your hunger. So it kind of links back to the first tip about asking yourself, am I hungry or am I stressed? Rate your hunger. So rate your hunger. We go back to the kicking the shoes off, walked in the door, heading straight to the pantry. I feel like those chips. I'm going to make a big plate of cheese and crackers and I'm going to have a Coke. I'm just hungry. I just need the comfort. I need to eat. What's your hunger in that moment? So ask yourself before you take the packet of chips off the shelf, say, okay, how hungry am I? 1 to 10. This will help you. Again, it's that saying that out loud. Even if you just do it in your head, you go, ask yourself that internal dialogue in your brain and say, okay, what's my hunger? 1 to 10. Okay. This will help you identify if you're actually hungry or if you're eating to comfort yourself. All right. So if you go 1 to 10 and you're like, okay, my hunger is probably, I don't know, like a 2, then you're not really hungry, are you? You're standing at that pantry looking to food to comfort you because you've had a stressful day. That's why you're there. Okay. So you're actually not hungry. So it's really important that you check in with yourself and do that little hunger scale. And you can do that anywhere. If you're out somewhere or at work and someone's brought in like these like big tray of donuts and stuff to share, and often we see the food and we're like, I better eat that because it's there. What's your hunger rating? Am I hungry? Well, it's actually a 1. Okay, well, thanks, I'm good. I'm good for a donut. Or you can say I'll have one later or whatever you feel like doing. But rate your hunger because it will help you to make a better food choice. Okay, next one. And this is a favorite of mine, and it's definitely one that I've used on many, many occasions, and that is create non-food comforts. Okay, so remember, this is a neural pathway in your brain. Your brain has gotten so used to the fact that you come home, kick off your shoes, and you head straight to the pantry. You have to do something that is a comfort for yourself that is non-food related. And what that will do is it'll start to send those new messages to your brain where it's like, okay, well, we can use this to comfort ourselves after a stressful day, or I can do this instead to comfort myself after a stressful day. And it will start to break that habit of you always relying on food as a comfort after you've had a full-on day. Okay, so it varies for everyone. Everyone kind of has their own thing, like their own little moment of self-care for themselves. Like something really simple for me is getting a really nice like mug if it's a coffee, or like a glass if I want to have like an alcoholic drink. I'm putting it in there, like having a nice glass or a nice cup and having your smoothie out of it, or your coffee, or your whatever you want, feels like a little moment of self-care. There's no food involved. I'm just making myself a really nice drink in a bougie cup, and it just feels really nice. It feels like it's something special and some little moment for me. Are you someone that loves music? Maybe it's putting on your music and going for a walk. That may be something that's a comfort to you. It might be a bath. Like I know some women that love a bath. Like it's just a routine in their weekly staple. Having a bath is something that really helps to comfort them after a stressful day. Lighting a candle can be a really small thing, because like it's looking at the flame, it's the scent, like it always smells nice, like it's a little moment of self-care to yourself. So the other thing could be chatting with a friend. Like when you feel stressed, you just need to offload. You've got all this stuff going around in your brain and you just want to get it out and you just want to talk to someone about it. Ring up your bestie, ring up your girlfriend, ring up your work colleague and have a good bitch and a good vent to them, because that is another way to comfort yourself that is non-food related. But again, like I said, it's a habit, takes practice. You have to start switching your brain from relying on, hey, I'm really tired and I've had a massive day and a massive week and I'm just going to eat to comfort myself, to I'm going to do these other things instead to make myself feel good. So it does just take a little time and a little practice. So your brain and your body starts to turn to those things that are not food related instead of turning to food. So it does just take a little bit of time and practice. Okay, next one. Very important. When you slip up, okay, you come home, you kick off your shoes, you head to the pantry. When you slip up, just be kind to yourself, okay? It's not I failed at this. I've been really trying not to eat when I'm stressed. I'm having these really stressful weeks. I'm trying really hard and you have a slip up. It's not that you failed. Just ask yourself, what do I need to do right now or next, okay? Even if you're in it, like even if you've pulled everything out of the pantry, you've got your packet of chips, you've got your block of cheese, you've got your crackers, you've got all the things, the chocolate, you're going to eat all the things. You can change that at any time. Okay, even if you've got it all out and then you've had that aha moment where you're like, okay, I'm not really that hungry. Why have I got all this food here? Just ask yourself, what can I do now? Say, okay, I feel like a few chips. I'm just going to have a few chips. I'm going to make myself a nice drink and I'll put the rest back. You always get a choice. Okay, don't ever feel that because you're in that pattern and in that pathway that you just have to run with it and keep going. If you have that moment and that moment of self-reflection and self-thought, what are you going to do next? Make a different choice. It's never too late. You know what I mean? Like even if you're knee deep in the chocolate bar and then you have your aha moment that you're like, I'm literally just inhaled this half a block of chocolate because I was tired and stressed. That's great. That's an awareness. That's a moment. That's a win. Take it. Go, okay, I'm good. I'm going to fold this up and put it away and stick it back in the fridge. Don't think that there's never a time that you can make a different choice. There's always an opportunity, a chance to make a different choice. It's just that you have to have the self-awareness to realize what you're doing to yourself, what you're choosing for yourself, and go, okay, hang on, I'm not hungry. I'm just doing this because I'm stressed, and I'm going to stop now and I'm going to put it away. Okay, so you always have a choice. No matter where you are in the eating and the stress eating journey, you always have a choice to stop and to put things away, go for a walk, run a bath, and break that habit that you have been stuck in for so many years. I really want to stress this to you as well, that eating when you're tired and when you are stressed is not a food problem. Okay? It's not a food problem. It's a pattern. It's a learned behavior that you have created for yourself in a way to cope for stressful moments. Okay? Your brain loves an automatic solution. Okay? Jen feels stressed. I reach for the food. It's a quick, easy, automatic solution that your brain has to put zero thought into, zero thinking capacity, and our brain loves an automatic solution, okay? But if you're stressed, it's not a food problem, okay? It is not about willpower and motivation and things like that. It's a learned behavior that your brain now understands that when you feel stressed, when work is a lot, when the kids are a lot, when you're tired, that you turn to food as a comfort, okay? And it's just about rewiring that pathway and creating a new pathway in your brain that turns to non-food comfort instead of always eating as a way to comfort ourselves. So in order to succeed with those weeks where you're feeling really stressed, you just have to make a choice. You need to get that clarity and you just need to practice it and do it consistently. You need to start to learn what your body needs instead of what your brain thinks it needs. Okay, so your brain is going to be, Jen's had a really stressful week. She's really tired. We know what she needs. She needs to head to the pantry in the fridge and sit on the couch and overeat on all the food. Okay, you need to short circuit that thought and go, you know what? What do I really need? In this moment, what do I need really right now? Am I tired? Okay, I'm going to have a shower. I'm going to turn my phone off early and I'm going to go to bed. Just ask yourself what you need and that will put you back in control. And something that I see a lot with women, and it's something that we all struggle with so much, is the fact that our life is so busy. Okay, so all of those internal mechanisms and thoughts and feelings and those times where we should be tuning into ourselves and going, how do I feel? What do I need? How is this food making me feel? Because we've gotten so busy and our lives have gotten so hectic, we've turned that off. Okay, that part of ourselves, we've just switched her off because we're like, well, I don't have a choice. Just got to keep going. Got to just push through and keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then it's the next task and the next thing and the next thing and the things that the kids need and all of those kind of things. And that's the problem that we experience a lot as women, is that we've turned off these internal mechanisms on how we feel, what we need when we're tired, when we're stressed. So really try to start to turn that on again in yourself. Turn her on. Turn that part of yourself back on. Part that tunes into what you need, how you feel. You know, what's the best choice if you're feeling tired? And it will make a significant difference, because instead of feeling chaotic and overwhelmed and stressed at the end of the day and turning to food, is you'll feel confident. You feel in control because you'll be able to listen to your body. You'll be able to go, okay, you know, I actually think I don't need that food. I need a bath, a shower. I need to just get out of my work clothes. I'm going to light a candle and I'm just going to watch my favorite TV show on the couch. Tune into her, because I promise you, she won't steer you wrong and she knows you better than anyone. It's just that we've over time gotten so busy that we've just sort of turned off that internal dialogue and that internal switch with ourselves. So don't forget to turn it back on, start talking to her, start listening to her, because she knows what you need and she knows what is best for you. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast episode of The Healthy Her. Do not forget, if you haven't already, to hit the follow and subscribe button. It lets Spotify and Apple know that it is a podcast worth listening to. And also too, if you love the potty, don't forget to leave us a review. It would mean the absolute world to me. I'm just so grateful for all of you. I just love the Healthy Her community so much. So I will see you all in our next podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing, because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @TheActiveBod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.